Today we're taking a trip into the withered forest looking for blights. Welcome back to Heroes and Whiskey. I am Tim. We are printing our way through the D&D 5e Monster Manual. If you need some background on what it is that we're doing, there's a link to the intro video in the description. Today is a little bit of a different episode. There are 3 blights that are listed in the Monster Manual: the needle, the vine, and the twig blight. And at first I was like, these are just like, haunted tree things. But this ended up being the print that convinced me that there was something to this hobby. And so I've lumped all of them together because for me, this was a bit of a milestone for me, just in understanding what this hobby, 3D printing, was capable of. So rather than spend too much time kind of looking for which models I print, I'll show you which ones that they are, and then we'll get into the actual prints themselves. So for the needle blight, I use these figures from Gloomy Kid Minis, $5 for 2 different poses. A great deal. Anytime you can get any one model for under $3, I think that's a great deal. For the twig blights, we went back to kind of our old safety net, Yasashi Kyojin. Here's a group of 3 of them for $5. So, that's under $2 a piece. They don't come with bases, but we can print bases easily enough. And then the last one is this vine blight from Hexy Studio. And so let's get these printed out so we can take a look, because this was a kind of a big moment for me, kind of a big revelation. If you want to stay involved and keep supporting the channel, then definitely check us out over on Patreon and Instagram. That's where we have a lot of conversations, a lot of kind of behind the scenes of what's going on. And the community does actually help to pick some of the upcoming monsters that we're going to print. So, like I said, this print, these 3 miniatures specifically, really helped me see what the power of this medium could be. And so here are the figures. We'll drop them on the turntable in a second, but just so you can see the scale. So this is the vine blight. This is the needle, so quite small. And here, this is kind of the coup de grace. Is that French? Coup de grace. This is the twig blight. And so what really stood out to me about all of these is just the level of detail. Just really crazy. Like this vine blight, these, when I dry figures after I print them, I do it on like a shop towel. And this is kind of like Velcro. All of these little curved twigs kept getting caught in the loops of that towel. That's how detailed it was. With the needle, these spikes that are on the back, they are sharp. they're very sharp. And this twig guy, I don't know if you can even see, but he's running. He has a hand sticking out. His hand has got to be 1.5 millimeters tall, but you can see individual fingers. He's even got one finger that's pointing separate from the others. So let's drop these on the turntable and take a little bit of a closer look. All right, so here you can see, I've put them all on the table. There's an additional twig blight that I just didn't have room for, but you can see the levels of detail. The vine blight in the middle, just all sorts of twists and turns with the different vines. You can see the finger that I was talking about for the one twig blight. You can see the spikes on the back of the needle blight. And what was crazy to me is I had no issues whatsoever taking these off of the supports. I mean, obviously you have to be a little careful when you're talking about figures this size and figures that are this kind of sensitive, but I really didn't have any issues. The hardest part, honestly, was gluing the twig blights down onto these bases because there's really very, very little contact because they have little tiny feet. But you can see they've got faces and mouths and eyes and just so much detail built into what are really, really small models. So here they each are compared to Johnny Trinity. Here's the needle. And so it's about human size. The twig, this is the equivalent of basically 3 or 4 feet high. And again, you can see the single finger pointing out some of the twig bits on the head, and the vine blight, just all of the kind of twists and turns, all of which came out perfect. Nothing broke. Like I said, no issues getting it off the supports, and even like little leaves buried in there. And in terms of resources, all 3 of these figures put together, so that was the vine, 2 needles, 3 twigs, was only $14. It only took 3 hours to print them all. And so we're up to about $115 in terms of cost, and 2 days and 8 hours in terms of time. So final thoughts, if you're running a forest campaign, these blights are fantastic. Again, it's worth printing it out just to say, hey, this is what is possible with this medium. And, for the cost and amazing value, really amazing creations by these 3 different creators. And so kudos to them for their amazing work. And next up, we will be looking at something with a little more meat on its bones, the bugbear.